Hey new warriors, what's going on? We have some new footage for A.K.I from the likes of Kakeru at Tokyo Game Show, and I thought it'd be cool to break things down, even though it is, of course, the very early stages of A.K.I's gameplay, but it'll be good to point out a few things as I go and perhaps shed some light on what this character's potential can be. So all that being said, if you want to see more content like this on the channel, be sure as always to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get straight into the analysis. So basically what I'll be doing in this video is just breaking things down as we go and just pointing out, as I mentioned, a few things with the character that I think is really impactful, but also things that perhaps we can work on as A.K.I mains. So let's turn it down a little bit. This is from, I believe, yesterday's exhibition from TGS. And so we're going to go over some very important things. The first thing I want to note is that A.K.I, or rather Kakeru, is up against another human player. So the content or the videos we've seen thus far from A.K.I have typically been from CPU level 7s fighting off against each other. So while that could potentially be great for maybe picking up some combos or whatever, it's also really important to see the character being utilized in a scenario that really kind of resembles real life. So because Kakeru is up against another human player, this will give us a better look as to what is potentially safe or just how other humans react and respond to her moveset. So once again, I want to say a quick shout out to GrowTube for grabbing this content here. Much love to you. So we have round 1 here. So Zangief goes for the jump in. Not too sure what Kakeru was pressing there, but it's fine. So let's go back for a second here. So that was a medium punch, whiff medium punch. Okay, so this move, that's likely going to be, I imagine, A.K.I.'s standing fierce. And so that was a counter hit. So I'm not too sure if you can drive rush off of that, but I know you can target combo into more poison. So the second hit, if you confirm it, it is hit confirmable. So you can actually go back and do a 2-hitter, apply poison, and then, of course, retain your neutral position. So standing roundhouse there. All right, so this is the really important thing here. So as you can see, A.K.I, when she does her medium serpent lash, the range at which she hits you is pretty far. Like if you can see right here, from where she is, right, that's a pretty substantial range to hit the enemy, to therefore put them into a state, almost like a crumple state. So right here, you can easily go into something like a drive rush combo. So right here, so they both get countered, but A.K.I is in a better position. So right at this point, of course, Kakeru is unfamiliar with the character. It's only natural. But just based on what we know so far with how A.K.I operates, she could easily drive rush right here, drive rush into a combo, perhaps standing roundhouse into standing medium punch, then going into a toxic wreath, and so on and so forth. So that's just a little combo entry right there that we can easily work with. But this is good information for us to know. Knowing that the medium punch version of Serpent Lash on counter puts you into a crumple state, this is free real estate for you to drive rush in and do a nice juicy combo. So good to know. Let's keep moving. Whoops. I'm gonna remove that. There you go. Okay, so right there we can see that I believe that's a roundhouse. So if you go with the roundhouse, it's a two hitter. So he lets go of the parry, goes for the counter hit version of the roundhouse, and then goes for jab into heavy serpent lash, which is pretty good. Leaves it in poison state. Okay, so that's really interesting too. So right here, so it goes for the standing roundhouse, right? Goes into OD Serpent Lash. Then because of the Toxic Blossom applied, because you're already poisoned. And then he goes for, I guess, a slide here. Boom. And by slide, I mean her sweep. Her sweep is her hard punch. It's not going to be your heavy kick. It's going to be your hard punch, according to what Justin Wong said. So shout out to Justin Wong for the information. Much love to you, man. I love you. So he goes for the sweep with heavy punch. Now, I imagine from this position here, he could have easily gone for more, right? So after you get the crumple here from Toxic Blossom, boom, OD Serpent Lash into the Toxic Blossom, you can probably go for, like, let's say a standing heavy kick or standing medium punch or whatever the case may be. You can still extend this combo because you have more than enough time to basically hit Zangief in this motion right here. So that's something to take note of. You can easily apply more pressure after this. I'm imagining that there's obviously two reasons. So one reason, of course, is that Kakeru doesn't know the character. That's only natural. Two, this could very well be an Oki setup too, because if we can see here, that sweep leaves Aki in a very, very close position for Oki pressure. So of course he walks back, but the fact that he was able to land very, very close to Gief after this, like the fact that he was able to land very close really tells me that you can probably set up another puddle if you wanted. So you can, you know, drop a puddle, maybe back away, or maybe neutral jump, go for another setup. But essentially you have the option of being up close to Zangief, therefore going for, like, I don't know, maybe a grab or wherever the case may be. So again, something to take note of, that just because Kakeru is doing something simple doesn't mean that it's not effective. Because that sweep leaves you right there, right? You're literally so close to the enemy that you can walk up and go for pressure. So he backs away here. Alright, so anti-air, we already know. Anti-air Serpent Lash is extremely strong. And I'm pretty sure you can anti-air and drive rush off of a counter hit version, I believe. So right there, he could have probably drive rushed into standing heavy kick and just continued to extend the combo. Again, this is lack of character knowledge, but it's definitely doable. We've seen it before. It can be done. But I do think this matchup will be a little bit tough for Gief, just because I feel like Aki has ways of really controlling space and neutral, and Zangief has to work for that space. But I think if Gief gets close, it can be a problem. So I'm noticing that Kakeru is using a lot more of the standing medium or the medium punch version of the Serpent Lash versus the light punch version. And that's because, again, we've seen before that the medium punch version does cause crumple state, which is really important. Okay, so we can see here, he drive rushes in, he goes for a standing heavy kick, and he tries to go for a sinister slide, I guess, combo. Didn't work though, unfortunately. But again, good to know that he's experimenting. Alright, so he gets out of there. Alright, so he goes for that. I guess that's the crouching fierce of the slide. Or the sweep, sorry. Interesting that he goes for the heavy kick here. Okay, so I'm not too sure what he was trying to do here. Maybe he's trying to go for... Okay, so he went for, like, the serpent slide or the sinister slide, but I guess didn't really amount to much there. But he's out of the corner though. So that OD version of the serpent, I think it was serpent slide. I forgot the move's name again, but using that in the corner to escape pressure is so important. Okay, so what did he go for here? Okay, so that, I guess that was crouching roundhouse, and he got punish counter for that. So that's probably a move you don't want to be using too often because of it's pretty slow, it seems. All right, so yeah, right there, this is a good setup. I think this is going to be really effective. Just putting down your poison right after throwing a fireball, I think will be really vital because A, you're essentially creating the space that you want. So right here, you have the fireball is moving towards Zangief. He's already poisoned, so this already creates a sense of urgency in the player's mind. So that's one thing. But two, the most important thing to point out here is that he puts the puddle down. So now that Zangief, he just perfect parried the poison, the Nightshade Pulse, but now you have your Orchid Spring on the floor. So now this is going to force Zangief to do one of two things. Either back away to prevent taking more damage, or he's going to commit because he's trying to get the poison off of him. So you've covered so many options here. You've covered an anti-air option, and you're playing safe because, as I said, Zangief has to either move back because he doesn't want to take this extra poison, or he has to commit and jump in which case he does, and he gets anti-aired for it. So I don't know if this is safe on block here. It seems like that the standing heavy kick may not be safe on block. It may be minus. So it may not be like extremely bad, but it's probably a minus because obviously this player here went for a move and it hit Kakeru. Alright, so heel strike here. Alright, so heel strike looks like a pretty decent move, though I'm sure if you space it well enough, it could be potentially safe on block. But right now it seems like it's not because he gets counter hit. And I'm not too sure if he maybe tried to go for a crouching jab afterwards, but I imagine that Kakeru went for the safest option after heel strike here. And he still gets punished. So that tells me that the move is relatively unsafe on block. How unsafe, we'll have to wait until Tuesday to figure that out. But at least that gives us some idea as to whether or not we want to be using heel strike on block. But again, it could all be due to spacing. Maybe if you space it well enough, you could potentially be safer. But Kakeru did it pretty deep there, so good to know. So Kakeru, of course, is playing really safe here, just like he would play as JP, right? He's playing pretty safe. He's not really doing too many fancy things. It's more so him experimenting, obviously, but just seeing him playing safe with the character is good to know. So right here, this is good to know as well. So her heel strike seems low profile. So he went for the knee, and Kakeru goes for the heel strike, gets a counter hit. Again, very straightforward combo there. Alright, so Zangief takes that round there. Alright, so let's see what else Kakeru can do here. Alright, so ooh, okay, that's interesting. So this could have obviously been a longer combo, but it's good to know that you can, at this range, you can still hit with standing roundhouse here. And he goes into a venomous lash from the stance. So that's a 2-hit combo. Could have done more. I imagine you could have probably done, let's say, standing heavy kick into drive rush, into another standing heavy kick, into toxic wreath to apply poison, and just again continue this momentum of a combo. But again, I think Kakeru, not knowing exactly what to do in this situation, goes for a safe option, and Venom Lash is still pretty good just because it really pushes the enemy away pretty far, and I think that's important. So it puts you in a position to where you can still set up your poison if you wanted. So if you look at this, the distance at which Kakeru is after a Venom Lash. So you're right in front of the enemy, and they already have poison. And he goes for the Nightshade Pulse here. Now, he could have actually, I would imagine, you know, if he knew more too, I'd imagine he can probably put down like a Toxic Spring here as well, or an Orchid Spring. Just put a nice puddle right here after the knockdown, therefore forcing the Zangief to either jump again or just make him back away. So again, the option is still there. Him throwing a fireball obviously is great for just playing that poke, that safe distance. But I imagine having the Orchid Spring there and then throwing a fireball would have been nice too. But either way, still pretty good. Just playing safe neutral. Ooh, okay. So backs away. Great whiff punish here. So he whiff punishes with standing target combo fierce. So poison's applied now. So he's really whiffing the medium punch version of Serpent Lash. But again, the reason I think this is going to be a really strong tool in neutral. While the light punch variant is really good for just being very horizontal, the angle at which you use the medium punch Serpent Lash is really, really good because it covers both options, right? So if we look closely at just the angle at which the Serpent Lash is used, right? So we can see that right here, it covers not only the option of the opponent jumping, so if they're going to jump, it covers that option. But if they walk forward, like we've seen with Zangief, it can also hit you there as well. So depending on where you are standing, like let's say Zangief was right here, and let's say he just pressed a button or he just mistakenly walked in, he can still get hit with the upper part and perhaps even just walking forward here, because we've seen it being hit before. So the fact that she can cover not only the option of the air, but also potentially cover you as you're walking forward, and you can still guarantee a crumple state after this makes the medium punch version of Serpent Lash very effective. But I still feel like light version will have its merits because it's a great way of just pressuring the person in neutral, and it just forces them to either jump in on you, which is what you're looking for, or again, just to keep that person away and apply pressure. So that's really, really effective here. Yeah, so it's right there. We've seen it again. So this is the second time now we've seen Kakeru utilize the heal strike on block, and he gets punished for it, right? So right there, I think this is likely going to be, again, it's going to be an unsafe move on block because he gets counter hit with a crouching jab. So either you space it well enough and you can make it technically safe, but because Geef is able to do a crouching jab after that, I imagine this move is like minus, I don't know, -5, -6 on block or something, but we'll see. Ooh, okay, so that could have easily been a bigger damaging combo here, but he goes for jumping heavy kick into standing heavy kick, and then he tried to go into a stance combo, which is cool. I respect that. I think if there was an easier route, I imagine you would just go from punish counter heavy kick into, let's say, drive rush, right? Drive rush, then heavy kick again, standing medium punch, toxic wreath, so on and so forth. And then maybe you can finish off the combo with, let's say, a serpent lash, or maybe a heal strike or venomous lash, whatever the case may be. But yeah, right there, that medium punch version, it's so good. It just pushes you away. Like look how much more space you have because of the medium punch version. Like you have so much space to work with. Like you're basically right back to playing a neutral game. You can apply pressure with your Nightshade Pulse. You can plant again a nice Orchid Spring here. There's just a lot of things you can do. So playing with the Serpent Lash, I think is going to be super effective if you're going to be playing very defensively with this character, because I don't think that Aki is going to be like super high technical character. Like she'll have some technical aspects to her, which will be nice at the, as we grow higher in level with the character. But if you're just playing fundamentally safe with this character, I think just applying pressure with your fireballs, dropping your Orchid Spring, going for, safe pressure with your Serpent Lash, medium punch version, light punch version, anti-airing with the heavy version. I think this is just a really safe and effective game plan that just, I think any player can really pick up and utilize. But again, as you grow higher in level, you'll probably want to be utilizing more of the effective combos here. Okay, so that's good to know. So level 3 here? So level 3, it was an anti-air, which is good to know as well. Level 3 anti-air, pretty solid. Alright, so here we have Luke. So this is another reason why I like this video in particular, is because it showcases different characters. So we have a modern Luke, we had a Zangief. Alright, so once again, just safe pressure here, just throwing out a fireball. Alright, so see, what does that do? Do you see what happens? So immediately, the moment that he drops an Orchid Spring here, what does opponent do? So he throws an EX Sandblast, and now, again, look at where I am, or not I, but Kakeru. Look at Kakeru's position in relation to the opponent, right? Plenty of space to work with, but because the Orchid Spring is right here, now this opponent is thinking, oh, well, I don't want to get poisoned, so I'm going to jump in. So what does that do? Now that just gives Aki a chance to react, because I really do think long term she's going to be more of a reactionary character, in that whatever you do, the opponent is going to do something for you to react to. So the moment you put down an Orchid Spring, you already know in your mind as the Aki player, you're going to make the prediction that they're going to jump. So now you're going to react to that jump and just go for an anti-air, which is essentially what Kakeru does here, I believe. So let's see. Okay, so he just goes for a simple fireball there, which is totally fine. Ooh, wow, that heavy kick has really, that hit deep. Okay, so that's going to be a really good approach in neutral. Drive rush into the, I guess that's forward heavy kick. Either forward or back. I can't remember what Justin said, but I think it was like either forward or back heavy kick. Either way, that's going to be safe pressure. Okay, crouching jab there just for get some space. Okay, so that was, all right, goes for jab, simple jab into heavy Serpent Lash. Okay, so he goes for the, so right there, this is interesting. So you have enough time after a drive impact here. So drive impact, Kakeru goes for a jumping roundhouse, drive rush into standing heavy kick into venomous lash. So I feel like there could be more to this, right? There could easily be an extended combo version, but this was pretty simple and I think it was pretty effective. Boom, boom, boom. And look at the Oki you have right here. This is the most important thing, is look at the space you have in relation to just the enemy. Like, it's so limited. You're right in front of the enemy's face, and so now you can apply pressure on wake up. In this case, Kakeru goes for a Nightshade Pulse here, but in this situation, you can go for a jab pressure, you can go for a throw, you can do maybe even your entrapment if you wanted, like the command grab. There's a lot of things you can do. So the fact that you have this amount of pressure off of a venomous lash knockdown is great. Okay, so he interrupts there. That's good interruption. That jab is going to be great, but that medium kick, look at that. Yeah, crouching medium kick looks to be just a really strong poking tool in neutral. Okay, so he tried to go for an anti-air. Not too sure if you wanted to go with level 1. Maybe you wanted level 2, because level 2 anti-airs for sure. Level 1, I think that's more of like, it has to hit you. Yeah, so he misses out on that, unfortunately. But that's good to know. Right? When players drop certain things, this is like really good information to take note of because it tells us, the viewer, what works and what doesn't work. And so the fact that he tried to level 1 and he got punished for it, now that tells me maybe I should not use that. Level 2 would have likely been the better option there. Okay, what did you try to go for there? Okay, I imagine you tried to go for like a, oh, maybe Serpent Slide there? Or a Sinister Slide? Okay, so yeah, this is the first time I've seen him use Cruel Fate in the entire set. And Cruel Fate is safe on block. That's a really strong pressuring tool. So he goes for Toxic Wreath now. So we can see that he's waking up a little bit more to A.K.I.'s overall kit. Because Toxic Wreath is a really, really good move. It applies poison, and depending on the combo that you're doing, you can extend it and just go for even more damage. Okay, so it goes for the Venomous Lash. That's going to be a really tricky move to deal with, I feel. Because if you use it correctly, you can certainly just trick people into thinking that you're going to go for something and then you just Venomous Lash them in the face. Yeah, so medium kick is going to be a really strong just get off me tool. Yeah, you can see that Kakeru is just like testing out the buttons, right? Okay, he's like, oh, this is an overhead. Okay. Okay, so what do you do here? Okay, so that must have been what looked like, is it a crouching crouching fierce? Or a crouching medium punch, I think. Okay, maybe crouching medium punch. So crouching medium punch, punish counter. Then he goes into OD Serpent Lash. And then he just continues the combo. So if he was poisoned prior to this, he would have been able to do the OD Serpent Lash, Toxic Blossom combo, which would have allowed him to go into a crumple state and do more damage. But in this case, I'd say this is a pretty straightforward combo. Yeah, pretty straightforward combo. Very easy to do, I feel. And it didn't apply poison, but I think the game plan now moving forward, just by watching this content, is to simply think about how can I always consistently apply the poison as much as possible. Like, I need to be able to apply poison to get more damage and more pressure. All right, so he walked into the poison. It's gone now already. Okay, so pretty straightforward combo here, and he goes into... Okay, so that is interesting. This is interesting to know. So he goes for level 2, and I imagine he pressed the heavy version. And this is because, of course, we already know most supers in the game, you want to press like the heavy variant version of a button or whatever, right? So I'm imagining in Kakeru's brain, he presses heavy punch variant or whatever the button is. But in A.K.I.'s case, depending on the button you press, the distance at which this move works differs. So he went for the heavy version, I imagine. And so because of that, the move whiffed. the level 2 whiffed, and then Luke was able to punish for that. So that's good to know. So whenever you're going for a combo, you probably want to do the light version, because he was pretty close to Luke, right? Yeah, like right here, I'd say level 1 would work. Level 1, or not level 1, rather, the light version of level 2. I need to be very, very, like, deliberate with my words. But yeah, you want to do level 2, but the light or medium version. In this case, you'd probably want to go for the light punch version, or light version of it. So that costed him the round there, unfortunately. But, again, good to know. Okay, let's keep going here. So he gets punished there for going for the heel strike. Alright, punish, counter, target combo, and fierce. Oh, here we go. So this is what I want to see. Boom. Oh, okay. So this is... So again, the stance combos are really what I'm looking for. And Kakeru just exemplified that right here. So he goes for... So counter, jab, jab, heavy serpent lash, drive rush into standing medium punch, and then goes into stance, heel strike, and then ends it off with a serpent lash and reapplies poison. And look how far you are. You're so far from Aki, and so now neutral is reset, and you're basically going to reapply poison again with either your Nightshade Pulse, or you can just apply, you know, pressure here by just dropping an Orchid Spring. So once again, that combo, pretty good pressure string, and it puts the opponent far away to where you can reset your game plan and just continue to reapply poison every single time. It's very, very nice there. All right, so that was cool using the Sinister Slap to go under, but I imagine that's not going to be a safe option. It's cool to know that you can do that, but I don't think you'll want to do that too frequently, because just as we've seen here, you can get punished for that. Ooh, so he got punished there for going for the heel strike. Okay, DI. Okay, so we've seen this already, right? And that's a really good corner carry combo. It's pretty basic as far as what the combo does, but it's really effective because look how far that Venomous Lash takes you. It takes you literally all across the screen, and now look where Luke is. Luke is literally so close to the corner. All right, boom, boom, boom. And so he jabs out of pressure. That's totally fine. That crouching jab's going to be nuts, by the way. Okay, goes for a throw here. So at this point here, I feel like he could have gone just for like standing Serpent Lash just to apply pressure here. Makes me wonder though. Interesting. Okay, so he had just enough time to go for an OD Nightshade Pulse and still have enough recovery to go for a parry. That's a good thing to take note of as well. Ooh. Yeah, so see that, man, the Nightshade Pulse is such a great fireball because it's slow moving, and the way in which, like the height at which it moves is just enough to where if you jump, you might get caught, and you can't really crouch it either. So it's like, it's at the perfect space, the perfect height. It's so good. And so right there, he got crushed. He could have likely, you know, done more to the combo, but again, it's good to know. But that's cool to know. So he went for a Sinister Slide under the level 1 and goes for the heel strike. So that's really good information for us to... That's probably pretty obvious by now, but again, it's still good to know these things as players to pick up on certain things. So knowing that you can go under going under Luke's level 1, great, wonderful. That means we can apply pressure now to Luke if he tries to go for level 1. And that's all we want, right? So I believe this is the last one. Last set here with the Ken. Let's see what this Ken can do. So this is going to be an interesting match. At the highest level, I really want to see what this matchup kind of unfolds to be. Because Ken, as we already know, arguably one of the best, if not the best character right now. He just has so many tools. He can pressure you very, very quickly. Okay, so we saw that the Zangief player punished the heel strike, but this player obviously is not familiar, so he went for a crouching medium kick. Could have probably went for a standing jab or maybe standing leg kick. Okay, so this is interesting. This is the good stuff right here. Dragon Lash is such an annoying move to deal with, and the fact that you were able to go under, Kakeru was able to go under the Dragon Lash, which is really, really good. Because that completely nullifies Ken's pressure in neutral. If you're able to predict whether or not the Ken's going to go for that. Because look at the space that you just created. Just from escaping that. Like, look where you are. So basically, just by escaping, look at all the space you have now. Ken's over here. Aki's over here. You now have more than enough space to again reapply an Orchid Spring here to therefore again keep the Ken at bay, and you can apply pressure with your Nightshade Pulse here and just once again force the Ken to play to your game. So the fact that you can go under Dragon Lash and not get punished for it, fantastic. I love that. That's good for me. Ooh, okay, so he goes for the Venomous Lash there. That's really, really smart. So I think that move will be good for punishing certain moves in neutral, but you gotta be careful though. Okay, simple 3-hit combo. I think her combos are not gonna be like as crazy. They're gonna be more or less just like, you find the optimal combo and you just want to be continuing to apply poison. Apply poison and you win. Okay, so punish counter, boom. Oh yeah. So he's found his combo string right there. Again, very simple, but yet it does pretty decent damage and it carries to the corner. All right. So I think in Burnout, this is where I think Aki is going to kind of have some struggles, because I personally don't think she has that many options to really escape any pressure. So once the opponent puts Aki into Burnout, this is where I feel you're going to have to play super safe, because I could just see like right here. So you're in Burnout. You don't have access to your OD slide for pressure. So once you're in the corner, you can't escape. You just have to take that. So right there, maybe on reaction, you can go for a level 1 and just escape that pressure altogether. But again, at the highest level, when people are just mixing you up, I think Aki is going to struggle in this scenario where you're in Burnout. Because her only real quote-unquote reversal is the slide itself, but the slide is not so much a move to counter hit the opponent or counter attack. It's more of a counter escape. You want to be escaping pressure, and the fact that she couldn't escape pressure there was unfortunate. But all in all, Kakeru still finds a way out. But that's information to take note of. So in Burnout, just be mindful. Aki might not be as strong. But of course, when she has meter, when she has her gauge, she's obviously very, very scary. Okay, so Cruel Fate there. He goes for the OD Cruel Fate. It gets interrupted in the air. Yeah, so I'm guessing he thought that it would be maybe invincible or something, but it isn't. But that's information for us too, right? So we now know that OD Cruel Fate can be interrupted in the air and can be punished. So he goes for just a regular slide. So he goes out of the corner. Here, he's out of there. So right there, he goes for the heel strike. And he hits him with the last hit of the heel strike. This is what I'm talking about from before. I feel like if you space this move well enough, there is a possibility of it being safe. And because he only hit Ken with the last kick of the animation, this could potentially make it a little bit safer, but I'm not too sure here. Because he got hit there. But it wasn't a counter though. So I imagine it was maybe a delayed attack. I'm not too sure, but we'll see. So he tries to go for the slide here. He gets punished, so yeah, probably not a good idea to be using that to avoid jump-ins. Your best just either blocking or maybe a jump back, air to air. Alright, so this Ken is pretty decent. Like, this is why I prefer to watch human versus human gameplay of Aki, because it does give us better perspective on what she can do against an actual player. Alright, so punish, counter, target combo, fierce. So yeah, that move, like as I said, like look at that. As I said before, it covers so many options. Like it covers the anti-air, so if you jump at an angle, you get hit. You walk forward into it, you get hit. And because you're poisoned, now you're in crumple state, and you're getting a big combo for that. So good to see Kakeru now apply that. Because before he didn't do that, but now he recognized it and he applied. Oh, here we go. So boom, boom. So punish counter, drive rush. And I think he probably wanted to go for like a heel strike there, like last time. But knowing you can drive rush off of that, so that was what, drive rush, standing medium punch, and then you can probably go into like a heel strike or toxic wreath. You can do a lot of things. Okay, so here we go. So do you see what I'm saying here? So he goes for the heel strike, right? And he hits him with the last kick animation, and he gets a counter. So that tells me my brain that it's probably safe if you hit him, if you A, space it correctly, and 2, hit the opponent with like the last kick animation, not both animations. Ooh, okay, so he completely avoided the... He completely... Wow. So he just went right over... right over the drive impact. And he's just safe right there. That's awesome. Also good to know that you can just go under a drive rush if you know it's coming, though. And then he gets punished for it. Ooh, okay. I'm not too sure if that was intentional. I don't know if he thought he was in a roll animation, but whatever that was, I'm not too sure. Totally fine, though. Alright, so yeah, overall, honestly, I think that was just good. An overall cool breakdown. Just to see what this character is capable of. Obviously, this is just a blueprint. This isn't the highest extent to which Aki can perform. She's coming out very soon. We already know that there's going to be a lot of videos and tech guides out there, which, of course, yours truly will be dropping those. So if you want to see more Aki guides, more Aki matchup breakdowns, and more, then be sure as always to like, comment, and subscribe. And New Warriors, as always, stay strong and keep fighting. I hope you enjoyed this. Peace.